Hello, America. Hello, Black family. And I want to come in and talk about something that was on my mind for a minute. And I want to ask you something. What are your thoughts about most white people? And feel free to comment in the comment section and tell me what you think. Because I really want to say something that, you know what, even though we have our emotions about certain things and we realize how things go, we also have to remember that, you know what, not all white people are evil. Not all white people are racist. Not all of them. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know what, sometimes when we go out, whatever, and we encounter white folks or whatever, we have to keep in our minds that, you know what, on first glance, let's deal with them as human beings. On first glance. Then if you find out they're the way they are later, that's different. But you know what? So I don't want to stay to the point where we start treating white folks like they treated us. I don't want that to happen. You know? And sometimes seeing what you see, it causes you to get angry at those who cause you so much pain and so much harm. And we should get angry. But we should also know that, you know what? We are all individuals, right? We are all individuals. So that means that even white folks are individuals too. There are some really, really, really great white folks out there. And let me not say that white folks of all races. You have people that are loving, kind-hearted, wouldn't hurt a soul. And then you have the other side of the coin, those who are really rude, evil, demonic, and that's just the way it is. But, you know, I think that in this struggle is for us to undo the damage that, you know, I would say white supremacy has caused us. You know, part of the undamaging is simply educating people. I really have to be aware of that because think about this. This school system fails everybody. Well, everybody. Because, for example, if you look at the country the way it is today, right? Or it's always been segregated. So if you realize something that, you know what, most white folks don't really encounter black folks, and it's the same one the other way around. Most, not all. If you look in the suburbs, you usually see it's all white folks, white communities. Look in the hood, many black folks. There is not that much communication between both sides. And I feel that, you know what, in order for us to really win this fight and to really come together and make our causes known, not only do we have to come together as a people and decide what is it that we want and work towards it. But in that working towards it, we have to say, you know what? You're going to come across people who generally don't understand what you're talking about. Really. So sometimes you really know what? Sometimes, guess what? We have to have a way to say, you know what? Look, we don't have time to sit there and tell you everything, but guess what? This is where you go to look it up. This is what we'll tell you so far and make you really understand. Sometimes you got to explain to them because guess what? A lot of black folks are asleep, so are a lot of white folks. Because the mainstream media lies to everybody. It lies to everybody. This system is a problem for everybody. So what I'm saying to us as our people is remember that. You know, remember that white folks are brainwashed too. You know, I was having a discussion with a white man today. As you guys know, I do Uber lifting. You know, I deal with a lot of white people, and we have this long discussion about politics. And I was telling him about what I was telling you guys about breaking boxes or whatever, and a lot of the issues in this country, and how they relate to my people. You know, because I was telling him different issues, and I was saying things like that I think should be done and be changed to fix the country as a whole, because this is one country. It doesn't matter how you say it, whatever. There are other groups in this country that, you know what, The actions of one group affects everyone else. If you affect black people negatively, it affects everyone else negatively, except for maybe the 1% or whatever. It has an sorry, y'all. Sorry, I just got home. It has an effect. For example, most crimes in this country are committed by white males, but you would notice that they're not the highest prison population in the country. They're not. We are, right? You will notice the argument that China's taking our jobs, China's doing this, China's doing that. You know what? China's not doing anything but accepting a gift. In reality, a gift that anyone would accept. Any country, they would accept it. So we have to look at it and say, wait a second. And this really goes out to those who really need jobs and those who supported Trump, whatever, because he's going to bring jobs back or whatever. Okay. What I want you to know is something is, this media has you so misconstrued to say that China's taking jobs. When don't you realize that, you know what, the same system is taking your job from you. Those same men who run the corporations, mainly white men, right? They're the ones affecting you more than China, more than anyone else. I will tell you how and why I say this. Okay, I know somebody that was in prison many years ago, and he told me they actually used to make McDonald's tables in prison. You guys can look this up. There's many clothes brands like Victoria's Secret, I think JCPenney. Their stuff is made in a prison, right? For cheap labor. Now, could you imagine what would happen if the law was changed to say, you know what, we're going to get rid of private prisons, we're going to end the slavery, because that's exactly what you are in prison, a slave. No matter if you're white, black, blue, Hispanic, whatever, you are a slave. Don't matter the race, don't matter the color. Don't matter. Your voting rights are taken away, you are a slave. So, could you imagine what would happen if McDonald's, or all the locations, were forced to make tables in factories that hire people, paid them a living wage, paid them decently, treated them with benefits and everything? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine how much jobs that create? Could you imagine how many jobs would create if Victoria's Secret was forced to make their clothes outside of prison in a factory? That'll create millions of jobs all over the country, because guess what? They're not the only two companies doing this stuff. It's a bunch of other companies doing it too, right? So that was in a shockwave. This would create millions of jobs. Could you imagine if reparations was paid out to African Americans and they were allowed to fix up the communities, to start businesses, to build things, and start fashion brands, start all kinds of banks and whatever? Do you know how many people would get hired? Well, I'm just saying people in general. Not just black people, but people. People in general would get hired. For example, if the black community see puddles on the streets, all that stuff, guess what? What happens if a black community comes together and says, we're going to start a construction company, we're going to fix our roads ourselves, houses, everything? How many people have to get hired for that? And this is how it's going to affect the rest of society. Because guess what? A lot of people are on welfare, right? A lot of black folks are on welfare. We're not the leading ones. No, white women are not the leading ones. That's just a fact. But guess what? If all those black folks came right off and said, you got to get a job, create companies, get off of welfare, that means the rest of society is no longer paying for those people. That money can go be allotted somewhere else. Infrastructure, healthcare, doing it right. You know what I mean? If you do it right, there's 300 million people in this country. We should have enough facilities for all those people. How many buildings would that create? Construction jobs, nursing jobs, I'm not necessarily nursing, healthcare jobs. And those things lead to other things, because there's a business side to everything, there's a medical side to everything. Everything has two different sides. For example, you'll have Project management. Project management is so huge. You know, you'll have different fields doing different things. So there is a way to fix this country to get it back on track. Ending white supremacy is the biggest way to do so. Because this country will continue to go down. And I'm not spewing hate. I love all people. I have my own personal beliefs, but I love all people. I want the system to treat everybody fairly and equally. I believe in a uniform criminal code, meaning when I say uniform, I mean that if a black person kills somebody and a white person kills somebody, they get the same exact punishment, right? No matter where it happened in this country, same punishment. If I kill somebody and say the punishment is life, everybody get life, depending on the circumstances, of course. If you commit Grand Theft Auto, it's 5 years. It's 5 years for everybody. Not 2 years for a year for the white man, but 5 or 6, maybe even 10 for the black man or any other race. No, it's the same. I believe that everyone in this country deserves to have an equal chance, be treated fairly and wholly. And saying that, you know what, you're going to build your group up is not hate for other groups. No, it is saying you love your people. It is saying that you are, you care about your people, you care about yourself. So, I wanted to come on here and say, you know what, we have to get to the point where, as black people, or people in general, that, you know what, we have to look at people for who they are, not what society says they are. Right? So, I implore my people, black people, to say, you know what, in this struggle to get our freedom and to change and to fix our communities, we have to realize that, you know what, not every white person, not every Hispanic person, not every Asian person, not every other group of people is against us. Not every specific person. You'll come across some people that want us to do well and mean well by us. And we have to understand that there is a time and there's a place for these people. They're called allies. There's a time and there's a place, right? So we have to be willing to deal with these people accordingly as such. Not alienating ourselves from them and making them feel a certain type of way. No. Alright. What we have to do is say, you know what? No other race needs to be at the discussion table when we're discussing our actions, what we want to do for our communities and ourselves. But once we make a decision that this is what we want to do for our communities, we must also understand something that says, you know what, there's a lot of poor white folks and a lot of poor Hispanics that live amongst us too, right? So if we decide to come together and invest in our money and fix ourselves up, then our community needs to look whole, right? We need to come and say, you know what, cool, here's what we're going to do. All the black community, we're going to take our money, we're going to work it out, we're going to fix it up, we're going to do everything we got to do, and we're going to work together. This is our decision. If the other groups don't want to get on board with it, that's fine. We fix up our house and leave it alone. But if you start doing that and fixing it up, and then you find that other groups want to help you in that, you say this, listen, this is what we're doing, this is a movement, and guess what? You have no say in what we do, but guess what? If you rock it with us, you rock it with us. If you want to support it, here's what you can do. Here's how you can promote the change. This is what we want. We want our communities to look like they're actually livable places. We don't want rats in our homes and all that stuff. No. You know? And we can start communities that we're dominant in. Like maybe Camden or whatever. Or even if it's, you know, a certain part of the community, we can do that. We can build up. You know what I'm saying? We have everything that we need to ourselves. God is in you and in the universe, staring down at you and looking in you saying, I gave you what you need. You don't need nobody else but yourself. So it's time for us to come together, black people. But remember that, you know what? Let's not judge everyone by the book. Let's give everyone a fair chance. Let's not be the oppressor and treat them wrong because of skin color. Let's not do that. We can have our own personal preferences, but we must stay who we are, stay loving, Defend yourself. You can have anger, you can hate, you can do all that stuff you want to do. But remember something. We must not do what the oppressor did. We can't lose ourselves in this fight, okay? And sometimes I've noticed, sometimes when you see all this stuff, you start to lose yourself. People are more common than you think. You know, I've met a lot of people, especially a lot of white folks. I've had some that are like, you know what? Me and you ain't gonna get along. Yeah, I've met others. Cool people ever. So that's what I'm coming on here and say, you know what? I'm not saying say kumbaya. No, let's check everybody, but let's treat everyone the way we want to be treated, fairly. That is how we start to change in this system. Okay, y'all? Y'all have a good one.